Hello, Miami. This is 305 Sports Down, your home podcast and channel for all things Miami sports related. I am Will, and unfortunately, the run is over. All right, the Final Four ends tonight with the Miami Hurricanes losing to the UConn Huskies by a score of 72 to 59. All right, the Miami Hurricanes were unable to stop the assault that was the guard play of UConn, and also the big man down in the front court that were quite difficult to guard for the Canes, especially when it came to rebounding, and also scoring as well. The Huskies were led by the talented forward Adama Sanogo, who led the team with 21 points, all right, going 9 for 11 and 2 for 3 from 3-point land in particular. And that was a very tough time for the Canes themselves. The Miami Hurricanes really had difficulty getting into a consistent groove in the game because of the defensive pressure and the offensive pressure applied by UConn. But I will say, as good as Sanogo played, I do believe that the ultimate run killer for the Canes were able to tie the game, late in the first half, and they were able to cut the lead up to less than double digits, in the middle of the second half. But the biggest problem that I felt the Miami Hurricanes had is, well, first things foremost, they missed 14 layups. All right. That was a big issue for the Canes, as layups that they were making in the tournament altogether. All right. They were struggling to make them, in this game. Also, 3-point shooting. Although, Miami as a team, all right, the Miami Hurricanes did nail 7 threes. All right. They did shoot 35%, to UConn's. Well, UConn only shot 34. But the bottom line is that UConn hit 9. All right. And they were much better down low, much better in the paint than Miami was, as well. Some contributors for the Canes. Okay, Norshad O'Meara did have 7 rebounds with 8 points. Okay, and Isaiah Wong did lead his team with 15 as well. Nigel Pack had 8, and Jordan Miller was able to contribute with 11 points. He wasn't as effective as he was in the previous game against Texas. But the way I saw this game, I mean, I saw basically experience versus a team that's not experienced. All right, UConn is a veteran team, a team that's been, deep in the playoffs before, and has a history of winning. It is a true basketball school. Okay, the debate was, Miami, is it a basketball school? Is it a football school now? There's no doubt UConn was a basketball school, coming into the tournament, coming into the season. It didn't really matter. But Miami was no weakling, right? The ACC is not an easy conference either. But the bottom line is that Miami, Norshad O'Meara was able to dominate, most of the teams he played against, in this tournament, whereas, he met his match against a team like UConn, which did have some size. And I will say this, though, as dominant as Sanogo was, I really don't think that he was the one that really turned the tables against the Canes. I will say it was the backup center Klingon, who's about 7 feet tall, has a wingspan that is 7'2", slightly athletic enough to pretty much deflect shots away. And what I mean by that is that every single time, in many cases when he was in the game, the Miami Hurricanes would go on a run and they sat Sanogo down and brought him in. He was pretty much the run stopper for the Huskies. He was redirecting shots. He was making it difficult for Wong. He made it difficult for Pack. You had a lot of difficult shots, even down in the paint, that Miami cruised throughout the tournament. They were not able to make because they haven't met a guy with that kind of height and length throughout the whole entire tournament. So that was something that really did, I think, affect the Canes as well. Listen, not taking anything away from UConn. UConn played a very good game. UConn have beaten everybody by 15 points or more throughout the entire tournament. They have been the best team in the entire tournament when it comes to point differentials. All right. For Miami to win that game, Miami had to play the way that they played against Houston, where they were bombing threes. Okay, that was, I think, Miami's best shooting performance in the NCAA tournament. Houston, in many cases was caught off guard by Miami shooting. Nigel Pack had that monster game with 7 threes. So I think that is pretty much what I think Miami needed to do to beat UConn, because UConn was going to have, advantages or make it difficult for the Canes inside the paint because of Sanogo, because of Klingon. But Miami had to hit those threes, and even though they hit, they hit 7, they were unable to really get in that groove like they did in previous games. Okay, especially the game I just mentioned, as well. So Miami needed to have basically an all-around game to beat UConn. Miami did force UConn into some difficult situations with turnovers. but Miami just couldn't cash in, within themselves. A lot of isolation, and Jim Larrañaga called them out at halftime. Way too much isolation. The best way to beat a solid defensive team that rotates well, like UConn, you have to have better ball movement. Jim Larrañaga's teams usually have that. In this game, in particular, you had like Wong and Pack and Miller in many cases going one-on-one with guys, and that was easy for UConn to adjust to, then basically having to flail all over the half court trying to catch a guy and waiting for the guy to open up to hit the open shot. Although, with all that being said, Miami did have some open looks, inside the three-point line with jump shots. They missed most of those shots as well. So it just wasn't a good game for the Canes. But again, UConn is a very good basketball team. And I will say this, UConn is going to win the national championship. I don't see San Jose State beating UConn. They barely beat FAU, although FAU had a magnificent run, all right, in the tournament. You can't take anything away from FAU or even Miami. But let's be honest, okay? FAU is not UConn. I think the Canes got the worst end of that deal. But it's okay. It's okay. The Final Four is a great feat for Larrañaga's team. It's a great feat for this program. It's going to be good for recruiting. It's going to be good for the transfer portal as well. Now Miami knows what it needs. It might need a little bit more size, in the paint, to be able to help out a guy like Ormir, get some rebounds, get some buckets, as well. Some depth might be good as well. Miami's about 7 deep, I would say, as far as the starting 5, maybe 2 could come in. That'd be solid. From the bench, Miami's going to need to work on that. Again, this is a very attractive city to play in. The weather, the university is beautiful, as well. You're close to Coral Gables. You're 20 minutes away from the beach as well. A lot of guys that come down here and play, whether it's in football or basketball, they enjoy the nightlife here. So I do think that now the fact that Miami is a prominent basketball power, because I do think that this is not the end of the road. I do think that Miami will be a player in March Madness again. All right, it's not over yet. They will attract more recruits to come in. Larrañaga likes the veteran guys. He's not a big one and done type of guy. Okay, so the guys that come in for 1 year, they're 18 and 19, they want to go to the NBA or they go to the G League, whatever the case may be. That's not the kind of guy that Jim Larrañaga likes. Okay, he likes guys like Nigel Pack that have experience, Norshad Omier, that have experience. Okay, so that's more or less what we'll probably be looking for. Or get guys from high school that he could tell just need some development, but will stay for a couple of years and learn the game of basketball fundamentals a little bit better than it did back in their home high school. So I think that's what he's going to be focusing on. That's what he's going to be recruiting. But as far as transfer portal guys, this is an attractive destination. He's proven it. It's absolutely obvious to everybody out there. With all that being said, all in all, great season. Okay, you cannot have asked for a better season as a Miami Hurricanes fan, as a Miami Hurricanes basketball fan either. All right. And again, I'm not just a fan that's on YouTube. I'm also an alum of the university. And I've been following the Miami Hurricanes since I was like 7 years old. All right. So I'm really glad this happened. I'm glad we have Coach L. I'm glad we have Katie Meyer as well, Coach Katie Meyer as well. I'm very proud of this group. They were a very united group. They were a very comfortable group with each other, and they played their hearts out for the entire season and the entire tournament, despite tonight's game. All right. Well, that's it for me. Again, congratulations to Coach L. Great run. Awesome getting to the Final Four. We will definitely be back next year. I'm looking forward to next year's basketball team and covering the basketball team as well. If you like what you heard, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to 305 Sports Now. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. God bless, and see you soon.